Hey, how's it going? Thought I'd come at you with another video tonight. It's Saturday night, and I'm gonna go a little bit different, I guess. Maybe some of what I've done in the past. Uh, I'm gonna do some more explaining on some stuff that is going on in the world and some scenarios that may take place in the world. Now, it may not be pounding the pulpit preaching. It may not be in depth teaching. It may be a lot of people will say, "Well, just stick to the total gospel. Don't go up." Well, you do your own video, and you can do that. I just like to bring out different things. That, that I don't know whether everybody is getting the information. So I want to start off with there's a gentleman I'm sure you've probably heard of him before, called Perry Stone. Perry Stone has a lot of followers. What I find interesting about a lot of the stuff he's saying, I said 15 years ago, but I don't have a million followers. I just got a few. And all of a sudden, everybody, you hear what Perry Stone said? Yeah, I heard it. So, but something he brought out, I want to bring to light. Now, I'm not saying this stuff to cause any type of fear. I'm not trying to talk gloom and doom. I'm just trying to bring these things to light to help you to see what's going on in this world. And then you seek God to find your answers. Okay, for instance, the one thing he brought out in a video I just recently watched was that he knew a gentleman that somehow gets on the dark web where there's a lot of information that's spread out there that people have to be, I don't know, it's incognito or how they do it, because they got to be careful. But anyway, there was a prediction put out on it, and it came to pass. And the next prediction was about the grid going down. Okay? Now, when I'm talking about the grid going down, what I'm trying to say is this country, let's say Donald Trump is the man that we feel is going to help out, with God's help, fix our country. And the enemy, China or other countries, don't want him to run the country because I believe he has a backbone. Now, what better time to be able to somehow throw some type of attack at our country is before the election. Now, I want to go back to a dream I had. I don't claim to be a prophet. I've told it before, I'm going to tell it again. I was walking down the street of my town, and it was, when I think back, it seemed like the fall time of the year because the sun was more further in the south and it wasn't too cold. It was pretty nice weather out. And I looked up into the sky and I saw this flash of light. It looked like a star going off, only it was in the daytime. And I looked and I said, "What was that?" And I heard somebody say it was a nuclear bomb. And I said, "Why would a nuclear bomb be going off up in the sky up there?" This is before I knew anything about an EMP. And if you don't know what an EMP is, look it up. It was something that could shut down our grid. Now, so I'm concerned. Could there be an EMP attack on our country before the election? I don't know. I sure hope not. But there's a total possibility of it happening. So, am I saying we should panic? No. But might want to talk to God about this. Um, because if this was to happen, our country would be in chaos. All the lights would go out. This Perry Stone said for 2 or 3 weeks. It may be for months. If you're on a medicine to keep you alive, you won't be able to get that medicine. If you want to go to the store and buy food, how's the food going to get there if there's no trucks to get there? Uh, what a great time for all these groups of people that are in our country to rise up and cause chaos from within. And then what a great time for an external war to happen. Now, many people say, oh, I don't worry about that. I just pray. The funny thing is, the people that say that, they're the same person. As soon as they find there's a snowstorm coming, run, go stock up on groceries. Yes, we need to trust God. Well, then trust God to sit at home and let Him deliver the groceries to you. Yes, He does. He helps us. He provides. He provides ground to grow food. He provides you an income to go buy food, but to buy the things you need. He provides these things, but He doesn't necessarily spoon feed you. I know that Elijah was able to get food from ravens, but how many people out there has called fire down from the sky lately? I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying, is your faith that deep? So I'm going to give some scenarios. Before I get there, it's always been I would love to see churches. Okay, what greater opportunity would there be to witness to the lost souls in a time of chaos? Because in today's world, it seems like if you want to go witness to somebody, they don't care because they think they do not need God. So let's say, you go to the hospital and people are sick or close to dying. Everybody wants to know about God. What's going to happen if our nation gets a chaotic event? People might want to hear about God, and they may want to turn to the churches. Now, what if the churches are going, well, nothing ever going to happen, and can't help the people out there, and aren't able to witness to these people, aren't able to help because they're in chaos? I just always thought it'd be a great thing for churches, for people to be able to prepare not only for their families in a difficult time. That's what they used to do in this country before everybody could run down buy donuts real easy. They prepared for wintertime and such. And could you imagine if people was in a difficult situation and could turn to the churches for not just the spiritual help, but the physical needs and reach them? I mean, Jesus fed the 5,000. I mean, He did things like that. And again, a lot of people say, well, God will just, knock on the door and hand it to me. If you read about Joseph, how did that work out? This has been on my mind for years. Okay? Now, you got to keep this thing in a spiritual perspective, also what's going on. Don't be so spiritual that you overlook everything. Okay? Then there's some things you could do. Now, I don't know if nothing happens this year. There are people out there saying it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Somebody, if our grid is not fixed, is going to knock out our grid and then throw us into chaos. Eventually, that could happen. Will it? I don't know. Was this dream I had prophetic? I don't know. I'm hoping not. I'm hoping everything goes great. I kind of like it, but what better time for an outpouring to break out than if we get in a difficult situation where we still will have to trust God. And usually God uses people to help others. Okay? So what can I do? I'm not saying be a hoarder, but get some things prepared in case that was to happen. Now, I was just going to let you know some things that are going on that people aren't talking about. It's kind of newsy stuff. Have you watched the gold and silver lately? It's been going up. Now, if there was a time when you could buy a gallon of gas for 25 cents, back then, let's say you had a quarter. Now, if you have a silver quarter, you can still buy a gallon of gas for 25 cents using that quarter as far as value. We need to put our money into something that gives value. Even when the Bible talks about burying your talents, I don't know that's equivalent that to saving money, investing money, but we need to be wise stewards. For instance, there is a man out there that claims, and he's been in high up in the financial realm with the government, and he states that we could get gold could be $27,000 an ounce. Now you may say that's crazy. Well, maybe it is, but he knows what he's talking about. That is based on if we get to a debt crisis, which we're in $35 trillion in debt, and we have somebody running that wants to give you $25,000 for down payment, pay off your student loans, and all sorts of stuff that's going to really mess up the economy. But, people that don't know any better get excited because they think they're going to get something free. Where they're going to get the money to buy back the guns, where they're going to get the money to pay all this stuff off. You need to take your resources you have in the country and capitalize off these resources and not just using rich people as their resource and drawing from them because they ain't going to like that. But anyway, this $27,000 an ounce gold, he calculated that by if you took all the gold that we held, the United States held, and backed our money supply, the M1 money supply, at 40%, it would put the price of gold at $27,000 an ounce. Now, if we get to a time where it's chaos, you can't eat silver and you can't eat gold. You may be able to use it for bartering purposes. And again, I hope we don't get there. But it's something to think about. Not worry about, but prepare some. Now, again, if the churches would come together and say, "Hey, what could we do? What would happen? What a perfect opportunity we would have to minister to people if they could. They got no food. Hey, they don't have to know you got something stored somewhere, but hey, come in and get a meal. Witness to them." Which would be a far greater witness? Telling somebody coming to the church, "Oh no, we ain't got nothing. We didn't prepare either." Or, "Come on in, we got a meal for you. Let's tell you about Jesus." There could be an outpouring there. And it may take that for our country. The reason I'm discussing the gold and silver, it may be too late, but it might be a good time the money in the bank might fail. Like I said, that quarter that was worth 25 cents is now worth $5. May want to, if you have any money, you may want to put it into something to be ready. We may get a high rate of inflation. Hyperinflation may take place. And if we get this chaos, how are you going to get stuff? I mean, I could go through a number of scenarios. Now, like when I talk about the silver part, recently Samsung has come up with a battery for an electric car. I'm not a fan of all this electric car. However, I think we need to be diversified. Electric, hybrid, gasoline, natural gas. Now, if they come up with this battery that will go 600 miles per charge and only takes 9 minutes to charge. And it uses approximately 1 kilogram of silver in each car. What do you think that's going to do to the price of silver? Now also, bricks. If you heard about bricks, they may go to a gold-backed money. Now, if they go to a gold-backed standard, are they going to want dollars? People want dollars, they're going to want that. What will that do to our dollar? Now, the interest rate, they're talking about an interest rate drop in September and an interest rate drop in October. Price of gold and silver will go up. Do you know Tomahawk missiles use silver? Mexico is the #1 supplier of silver, and they are passing laws to make it harder to mine silver. They don't want all the countries getting all their silver. And less silver, pure silver, is coming out per ton of silver they're mining. All these things is going to force that up. Now let's say we don't get any kind of EMP attack, nothing like that happens, but inflation keeps going. How are you going to protect this? How are you going to make it? It's by putting it in real money. And again, this is not what you call your spiritual message, but I think it's using common sense. God wants us to use common sense. And what is God's money? What did he have planned for us to use as money in this earth? Gold and silver. I'm trying to say this to take it to God and say, God, could some kind of catastrophe happen in our country? And if so, what do I do? Should I put something in this? Should I do this? Should we prepare to be able to help people? That's what I'm asking. To consider these points. Now, many people think, well, I'm not going to worry about this. The rapture is going to happen. I'm going to be we may go through some hard times before the rapture. Am I speaking common sense? Again, how many people do you know you believe are going to sit there and pray and God's going to send a raven? I'm not saying he can't do that. But God usually uses people. Now we need people to hear from God. We need Josephs out there. Like I say, many times it's things I've said has fallen on deaf ears. But now Perry Stone's saying it and everybody's listening. Yeah, a little jealous, yeah. But anyway, I'm just trying to, I could get into all sorts of scenarios, but I don't want to be all gloom and doom. Some people are predicting everything's going to be great again. But again, outpourings in the early church, outpouring came from persecution. And I believe we very well may get into darker times. But as the times get darker, the light will shine brighter. And that's what I'm saying. Seek God to find out, hey, is there some things that I could be doing? There's not much. I've tried to do this and I tried to do that. Well, maybe these are things that churches, bodies could do. What a great, marvelous ministry. And when we're doing the ministry, maybe we'll see more miracles. Okay, so with that, I think I'll wrap this up. And again, this wasn't necessarily a big spiritual speech, but it is. I'm saying, pray to God. You prepare your spirit, but are you preparing for times to help others? Are you being wise stewards? Are you just going out and having a good old time and buying everything you can see? Just take these things to God and consider them. Boy, would I be, boy, you wouldn't believe how happy I'd be if people took a hold of this and churches started getting ready and started being and hard times came and people had a refuge, a place to go to, just like they had back in Joseph's time. They had some way to go to be able to be sustained and souls get saved. I think it'd be great. Seek God. Love Him with every fiber of your being. And serve Him with every fiber of your being. And whatever comes our way, whether great things come our way, or whether bad things come our way, God is still God, and still give Him the thanks and the praise He deserves. I hope that's clear. Thank you.